just like the late Bobby Fischer, for example. His IQ was in the neighborhood of 180.
I definitely think you don't have to be a genius to play chess. I do believe that it's the exact opposite, because IQ just measures the ability for someone to learn, and chess is one sport or game that can help someone learn even more. I think it's a stereotype that I thought it was only back in Uganda, but it is interesting that it is even here in the United States. When I introduced the game of chess, people were like, "Oh, you need to be smart," and people consider chess players to be smart, which is the exact opposite. The game itself, because of the things we talked about earlier, the character development, the patience you gain, and the thinking skills that you gain without even knowing, it makes you even smarter and more conscious when making decisions. And I think that's the difference between chess players and non-chess players. Yeah.
Now, Benjamin, a kid from Katwe, very ordinary slum in the Ugandan capital, Kampala, you have had a taste of Hollywood, of what it is to be Hollywood, because you starred in The Queen of Katwe, and if I remember very carefully, this was a project which was sponsored by Walt Disney in Hollywood itself. How does it feel like to be associated with the stars of Hollywood?
I would say it is a platform on its own, and it puts you on a world stage without even knowing, and you have to be very careful with the platform that's given to you and use it very wisely. That's the need that I didn't know at first, but every young person is like, if I get starred in a Disney movie, or if someone acts me or acts my role, I'll be there. It's like a dream come true, but it comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of things to handle, and you have to be wise with it, and you have to get so many people to talk to into your life so that you really live a life that exemplifies the good morals and the character that you want to pass on to the other people and your peers.
Have you, for example, walked somewhere and suddenly someone recognized that they have perhaps seen you on the silver screen somewhere?
Oh yes, that has happened, and most recent, professor showed the movie in class, and some people didn't know. So I went to my speech class, and instead of doing the speech class, everyone was like, "Hey, tell us about your story." I was like, But it was interesting. Yeah.
And how did that affect your relationships with your fellow students on campus?
I think I'm right now. I'm the student body president. I was already serving, and people knew me as the student body president. But those who didn't know that I was studying the Disney movie were even more surprised, and they were like, "Wow." We don't. So they came, and most of them took me out for coffee, and I was like, "Okay," and we got to talk even more, which is good because you get to pour into their lives and they get to pour into your life, which is really wonderful.
How is it like to exude humility?
I didn't understand the question pretty well.
How is it like to exude humility? In other words, to take it easy and be your real self without being arrogant, without wearing your chips on your shoulders and all that kind of stuff, because you are a star, legitimate star.
Dr. Shaka, having grown up in Uganda, and every summer I go back home, and I think that humbles me. I see people with a lot of potential and not having the opportunities that I've gotten. That humbles me, and I get to realize that all the status, all the things we get in life, it's to glorify and be able to teach other people as we learn from them, but not to be arrogant and think we know it all. Because yes, I may be a good chess player, I might be doing well in my classes, but there's so many things that as a person I'm still learning and I'm developing in. I think that keeps me humble, and I have a desire to learn more and grow as a person.